I've never seen people ghost so fast. I have had people, oh, yeah, yes, I'm in. And then I will send them all the paperwork, do all the folders, send them their questionnaire, and then I never hear from them again, ever.
Welcome to CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. I'm your host, Brandy Mabra. It's time to show up as a confident leader to create a practice and life you love.
Hello, welcome to another episode of CEO Conversations, the private practice podcast. It's Brandy Mabra, and today we are talking about the 3 secrets to success. This was inspired because I was able to talk to my amazing client, Courtney Curtis, a couple weeks ago, and just thinking back on her journey from 0 to 1.2 million, and thinking back on another client of mine, Chanel Chamilau, who just published an amazing book, Unapologetic Success. You can get that in the show notes. Thinking back on my amazing client, Monique Castro, who has a great purpose-driven practice, Indigenous Circle of Wellness, with her work that she gets to do in her community. Also thinking back on just other success stories that we have. So many success stories. Like, what were the 3 things that has led to their success? So I wanted just to walk through this because I can say a lot of times when people are, I need help inside my practice, I don't know what to do inside my practice has become more complicated, my practice has become an actual business, and it's taking over what happens. And so people will apply to private practice CEO, people will send me emails, I get DMs, so many things, happening about, can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me? And then we start to talk to the investment, because I will be the first one to raise my hand. I am not cheap. I am not a cheap coach to work with. I'm not a cheap consultant to work with. I do not have a membership model. I do not put you with thousands of people and, let everyone just kind of answer questions. Like, I move more as a consultant, but also coach you through things, mentor you through things, teach you through things. However, there's a price tag that comes with that, right? And so when we were talking about clients, literally going back to Courtney, where I'm helping and empowering and having conversations and teaching and giving tools and experiences and everything else that can take a person from 0 to 1.2 million, right? Or where some of our clients year over year are making more money. Profitability is increasing year over year. They're getting time back on their schedules. We work with some amazing individuals, amazing work that they're doing in the world. And there is a certain investment that they're willing to make when it comes to getting to their next stage of business growth that can sometimes make people pause, right? And so I have my own masterminds that I've invested in. I have invested in, high, 5 figures, like close to 6 figures when joining some of the programs that I've joined, just because I show up with 20 years of business experience, 20 years of leadership experience, but I still have my own blind spots, right? I still have my own things where I'm too close to it, right? I can't see it. And I want to just talk to you because I want to make sure that I'm setting people up for success when you need help, and what it looks like for you to need help, and for you not to get the help and then waste the help that you're paying for and then not be able to get like your return on investment. So I've worked very hard. Like my clients will know, I'm very hands-on when it comes to the work. I am always, I pride myself, right, wrong, or indifferent, to over-deliver, because I never want them to come from a place of, man, that was such a waste. And I always want to make sure that I've done everything that I possibly can do on my side. So one of the things I do know to be true is I can lead you to the strategy, or there is the analogy. You can lead a horse to water, but you cannot force them to drink. And so sometimes what I see is I will show a strategy, I will give you the strategy, I will tell you what to implement. And this is for folks, not necessarily like the clients I work with, because they all do great work. But for sometimes, like when people show up for calls and different things, that like I'll give them a really great strategy. They never do anything with it. So there's a certain mindset that comes with it. And so I wanted to go through like the 3 things. So when we're talking about these success stories, just to be very, very clear. So success secret number 1, they're going all in. And for those clients who work with me, I'm very, very, very honest where your practice can do anything that you want it to do. Anything that you want it to do. It doesn't require you to work 5 different jobs or if I have 5 different businesses, I should say. Like you don't need to have 5 different businesses in order for you to make money, right? And that's what I will hear is a lot of times people have like all these what I call side jobs because they're trying to make more money. And when you are growing a business, your business needs all of your attention and all of your support. When you're scaling a business, your business needs a lot of your attention and a lot of your support. So even if you have a team members who are there, they still need something from you, right? And so when you're trying to get your practice to that next stage of business growth, unless if you are at like the $10 million mark, then there is attention that you have to put into it, and it will almost like a child, it will act up accordingly in order to get your attention, to get you to move back over. So what I find is a lot of times when people have, multiple businesses that they're trying to grow, when their first business or their practice isn't even at the stage of maturity where you can just turn it away, they get frustrated, right? Because they feel like, well, it's taking away from my money generating activities, but really your money generating activities are in your practice. So we have some clients who are paying them 6 figures worth of salaries that come from their practice. Even going back to Courtney's episode from 1.2 million, she just bought a whole new home. She talked to how she gave up her real estate business in order to go all in on her business. And when she did that, and that was her number 1 focus, it grew, right? It became profitable. It is now doing its own thing. There's amazing opportunities that's coming her way that we didn't even dive into, from that. So a lot of times people don't have enough faith in their business. I have been in healthcare for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur at this point in time for a long time. And I can tell you when it comes to your healthcare business, it is one of the best industries to be in, like hands down. Like it's one of the most sellable businesses when we're talking about value. Everything that's happening within the tech industry and people like big business that are coming into the space. Why are they coming into the space? Because there's money in the space. You have to choose to look at the money that's in the space, right? So if you give 100% of your focus, 100% of your energy, 100% of your time, and go all in on your practice, I promise you'll be able to take it to so many like bigger levels. And I think too, people, they get into the world of social media. They see everything that their colleagues are doing, and their colleagues has this type of revenue stream and this type of revenue stream plus this practice. But you don't know what's happening to folks behind the scenes, right? You don't know how they're spending their time. You don't know what's happening in their bank account. You don't know the profitability. You don't know what other funding they might be getting. Like you have no idea. All you're seeing is a highlight reel. And what I see real behind the scenes is for the folks who are able to go all in and the folks who actually focus on their business and their practice and aren't working like 2 different side hustles and part-time jobs and, 5 different businesses, and their practices flourish because they have nothing else to focus on. Their teams are more aligned. Their teams are more engaged. Courtney talked about that. Like she has a dream team. And it's because that's what she does every single day, day in, day out. And so there's a method to madness here that I want to make sure that we talk about a little bit more, because I think people are sabotaging themselves, sabotaging their success. I think when it comes to the economy and where we're at, like it's going to require more of your focus. There's a podcast interview I was on, The Financial Powerhouse, and we were talking about the same thing. And when we're talking about the profitability, right, you can take that profitability from your practice and go build real wealth by putting it into other investments, right? And so this is how you start to really generate, as you focus on the first revenue stream, which is inside of your business, and then you leverage your business to go make other investments in order for you to make more money. And then you can take that money and start if you want to start like a whole new business, but you've already set yourself with like multiple millions of dollars. People are doing it backwards, right? So they're hustling and grinding for a few $100, and maybe at the most, maybe like 4 figures, but you're leaving so much money on the table because you're getting impatient. You're trying to rush the process. You're missing the opportunity, scarcity. So the first secret is to go all in, decide to go all in and fully step into the vision and have faith that if you want to make 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, you can absolutely 110% do it. You just have to choose to decide, which we'll dive into some of the other points too. Number 2 is continuous support. This is hard work. Building a practice is no easy feat. Building a business, creating something out of nothing is challenging, right? And so as much as I talk about freedom, as much as I talk about your practice running without you, making sure that you're hiring accordingly, there's nothing easy about this, right? There's times where you're going to be up at night. There's times where you're going to cry. There's going to be times where you want to throw in the towel. There's going to be times where you want to say, I quit, I'm done, and this isn't worth it. And all of those feelings and emotions are warranted. This is entrepreneurship. And as much as you can see people taking vacations, we have clients who take vacations all the time. They go to Greece, they go to Morocco, and we have luxury retreats that we host, like all the things. But there is a lot of hard work that is happening behind the scenes in order for them to get those types of rewards, right? And so this is not something to play with. And at the end of the day, you need support, right? You need a community. You need people who are going to help hold you accountable. You need people who are going to show you what's possible. You need people who are going to continuously cheer you on when you are tired. And that support is so important, right? And so that's why I love what I get to do, because I am a form of that support. I am a resource. I am there to help lovingly keep pushing you to keep going after the vision that you've been given, right? So if you have a vision, whatever it is, of having a practice that impacts the community, or we have clients who have visions of helping millions of people, that vision is yours, right? God gave you that vision by design. He will give you every resource that you need to help you get that vision to come to fruition. And if you are in a place where you're tired and you're by yourself and there's nobody to tell you to keep going, guess what happens? It's easy to quit. It's easy to say, I'm done. It's easy to sell. It's easy to say, I've done enough. I don't want to do anymore. It's like the workout, right? So you can always get better success with a trainer compared to you maybe not having a trainer, right? The accountability is there. You can always teach somebody the strategy, always. ChatGPT can tell you the strategy. ChatGPT at this point in time too can help give you a reframe. However, the accountability and support of meeting with somebody, or the accountability and support when you get into a room, right, is completely different. That there's no AI at this point in time that can give you that, right? And so when you have the support, that is another secret to success. Courtney talked about that, right? So she even said, if it wasn't for the support of working with me, her business would have gone out of business. I've had multiple practice owners say that, like, if it wasn't for you, my practice would go out of business, right? And it has nothing to do with, yes, I know business. Yes, I understand leadership. I have a very great, I'll toot my own horn. I'm really great at what I do. I have a lot of experience with it. However, it's my clients that are doing the work, right? I'm there just to empower them and to make sure that they keep going, that they're having the right conversations, that they're looking at the right metrics, that I'm teaching them the skill set that they need in order to get to the next stage of business growth, right? But that support is priceless. And that support is also of huge return on investment as well. But it's also like, you cannot get to the next stage if you don't know what the next stage looks like. And even if you have it painted out for you, here's 5 steps that you can take. If you aren't sure what that 5th step looks like or how it should look, then you're still no better off, right? And so it's important for you to have the continuous support, because at every stage of business growth, there's going to be something new that you just don't know how to navigate. And so I think that's why there's so many business owners and so much support at the beginning stages of business. Like everybody can show, oh, this is how you market. This is how you create your first service. This is how you're able to set up your LLC. This is how you're able to hire your first person. It's a different skill set when we're talking about multiple 6, multiple 7, 10 million plus, 16 million, 8 figures. Like that's a completely different strategy. And more times than not, a lot of folks don't get there. So that's why it's easier. I can teach you how to start something. I can't necessarily teach you at an advanced level because a lot of people don't get that type of expertise. And so it's important for you to have that continuous support. That's honestly what I love about the skill set that I'm able to bring, because I know what it looks like to build a practice from 0 all the way up to 8 figures, right? And so I know what those stages will look like. I know what it's like to hire your first team member. I know what it's like to have your leadership team and what that looks like and what it looks like to develop a whole C-suite, because I've done it. I've been there, done that, have the t-shirt. The third thing is the secret to success is taking risk. It breaks my heart every single time I meet with somebody who has applied to work with me, and then we start talking about the price point, and I've never seen people ghost so fast. I have had people, oh yeah, yes, I'm in. And then I will send them all the paperwork, do all the folders, send them their questionnaire, and then I never hear from them again, ever. And it hurts. Like, it really does hurt. But on the other side of that, I feel bad. I really do. I feel bad for them because at the end of the day, they applied for a reason. They're struggling for a reason. And that type of support is needed, right? The risk is part of it too. And so for the folks who are able to get to the 7 figures, because honestly, like it's 2 to 4% of any business owner is able to get to 7 figures. And then when we're talking about the private practice space, that number can definitely get smaller, right? So, because it's a very niched industry. So when we're talking about that, like the risk is important. And for the folks who are able, like Courtney, 3 years, Chanel, 2 years of working with me. Monique has been with me over a year. So like when it comes to taking the risk, then it's important for you to understand that the option of saying like, I can't afford it shouldn't even come out of your vocabulary. Right. And so if you're saying like, I can't afford it, that already is putting you in a mindset of scarcity. Right. So when we're talking about entrepreneurship, when we're talking about getting to the next stage of business growth, there's risk that's going to be involved in that. Right. And so there are higher level problems that you want to get to, and you want to break your business so that way you can solve for a new set of problems. And when you solve for those new set of problems, there's going to be a new level of support that you're going to have to get. There's going to be a new risk that you're going to have to take. And again, it breaks my heart when people show up and they're like, I can't afford to work with you. And it's never an option of how can I work with you? There are people who, like Courtney talked to this. She had to go and sell a house in order to come back to be able to work with me. And so fast forward 3 years later, 1.2 million, really do, like I said this in that episode, do the math, do the math. Like we have clients who are more profitable, making $400,000 a year more than what they were making the year before, $200,000 a year more than what they were making the year before, 150% more profit, all because they decided to take the risk of investing in themselves, taking a risk of investing and, seeing if it works out. I can speak from experience where there's things that I have put when it comes to like Facebook ads and, investing in different types of services, and things just sometimes just don't work out. But there's lessons that I've learned from that. There are other opportunities that have come from that, other ideas that have been birthed from that. And so at the end of the day, it's all part of the process, but it's a mindset shift too. One of the things I can 110% guarantee is that when you make the investment to work with me, I'm going to make sure you get a return on investment. Like it's one of the things that I pride myself in. And if you come, you do all the work, you show up for your calls, you actively implement, you definitely follow the advice and the consulting and, definitely have mindset shifts. You get to know folks, within the community, you come to the retreats, all the things, you're going to get a transformation. You are going to get a transformation. And usually the result is people make more money. They save time, make more money, and they get their investment back. For the folks who don't necessarily do the work and maybe are half in, half out, and that's not just for my program. I'm part of like masterminds, and I can see who's getting like the most. They're the ones who always show up to every call. They're the ones who are asking questions. They're the ones who, even sometimes insert themselves, in order to get like they make the most out of the experiences and really making sure that they're setting themselves up for success. So when we think about just, again, making the more money you make, the higher level of business growth that you go in, there's going to be the new level of risk that you're going to have to take in order to get to the next stage of business growth. What you need to recognize is you have to trust yourself. You have to have faith in yourself. You need to bet on yourself. And I promise you, when you do all of that, everything will work out accordingly. So those are the 3 secrets to success. So number 1, going all in unapologetically, right? Instead of having all the side hustles, all the 5 different businesses, trying to start something because you want to get paid, compared to I have a business, it's generating revenue. What else needs to happen in it in order for it to generate more revenue? Or what do I need to do in it if it needs to be more profitable, right? And so when you make that choice, then it's very powerful and it's impactful. Number 2 is making sure that you have continuous support. You want to make sure that you're setting yourself up, because this work is hard and it's easy to throw in the towel. It's easy to shut things down. It's easy to sell your practice for pennies on the dollar. No investor is going to come and tell you, you probably could have sold this for more money. No, they're going to go ahead and let you be at the mercy of your situation and go off and build something great that you could have built for yourself, right? So, and sold it at a higher dollar amount if that's what you want. So the continuous support is important, because the mindset has to be there, the accountability needs to be there, the strategies need to be there, the community needs to be there, in order for you to truly go after what you want. So it's the continuous support. Number 3 is be willing to take risk. Be willing to get the support that you need to take the risk. Be willing to look at not so much how I can't afford this. How can you afford it? What needs to happen inside the practice for you to get what you need, whether if it's a new EHR system, whether if it's hiring a coach or a consultant, whether if it's getting into a new building, whether if it's hiring the next provider or the next team member. Leverage your business, work your business, right? So what needs to happen, and don't get in the place of scarcity where you're nervous to take the risk. Come from a place of abundance. Count on yourself, bet on yourself, have faith in yourself, have faith in God, and knowing that you're going to be set up for success if you decide to move forward. So those are the 3 successes from the past conversations that I think are just so wonderful to listen to. And like I said, we work with an amazing community inside a private practice CEO, and the clients that are showing up and who are having the most success, that's what's happening. That is what's happening. So, again, I just feel so blessed to be able to work with them. I feel blessed. Like, if you are a private practice CEO and you're listening to this, thank you so much. I feel so blessed to have the journey. You guys know that. And if you were wondering about the support that you can get inside a private practice CEO, then know that it is there for you. We work with more advanced business owners, because there's a lot of support for those beginner business owners. But if you are in a place of trying to make sure you're setting yourself up for leading your team, if you are in a place of wanting to hire and grow your team, if you're in a place of I need to understand my money more, you want to get out of the weeds of your practice, you need to fill your schedules, and making sure that you have a strong, solid foundation in order to get to the higher levels of business growth, then Private Practice CEO is for you. So the link to apply is inside the show notes, and I hope to see you guys soon. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks for listening today. I hope you enjoyed the episode and it empowers you as the CEO of your practice. If you enjoyed the podcast, please make sure you subscribe, share the message, and leave a review. If you want more information and support in growing and scaling your practice, click the link in the show notes to take advantage of our free resources or apply to work with me directly. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.